Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the new Haxorus with Breaking Swipe in the Open Master League and see how good this Pokemon is actually. We're going to run a team here with a Dialga as a safe swap and the Metagross in the back to give us some coverage against those fairy type Pokemon that we see immediately in the lead here, which is not really ideal with the Zation here. But this team is actually fairly decent. I actually did some more battles than the ones that you see in this video, but I deleted the footage on accident, so I had to do them again. So some people might already know the team that I was running. I said that I would do a different one, but I didn't. And also, most people know that I was running Haxorus in general, so keep this in mind. It might be even better in the normal Master League where people don't know what you're running. But this team still worked out pretty damn nice. So here we were able to catch an Iron Head from the Dialga onto our Metagross, allowing us to farm them down. And we know already that we're going to be pretty fine against the Zation and against the Mamoswine. We're also going to be pretty fine with our Metagross, unless they're going to catch, which they don't. So great matchup here for us now after losing the lead pretty hard, because Metagross is pretty underrated, to be fair, for the Open Master League. Very strong Pokemon right now. They're going to try to catch, which didn't work out. I'm still going to go for another charge move here, because I know that the Zation is the one that I have to kill, because I know they can counter down the Mamoswine even if they knock me out here, because I can't get to 2 charge moves. And this is exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to counter down the Mamoswine and we're going to have a great time here. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have the Haxorus against a Dialga. This is not really ideal for us again, but we can stay in here for a little bit, but they're going to swap into Mewtwo anyway. I'm gonna go for the Breaking Swipe first, because I can debuff the opponent's attack here, but I might I don't know if I played it correctly here. We're gonna be able to go ahead and take this Side Strike here, and we can go and outspeed them for the Night Slash. Is this enough to knock out the opponent here? It's super effective. It is not. They survive with 1 HP and they still get the move off, even though I was able to sneak in the Dragon Breath. I don't know how that really worked, but we're gonna get out the Dialga again, and now it's going to be a tough time for us. We should be able to survive this Iron Head, and I'm just gonna spam my Iron Head right now. We survived it pretty easily, but the opponent here at least going to be able to knock me out with their Dragon Breath before I can get to my charge move. Would have been cool if I would have been able to do the same, but here we're going to now see the Dialga going for 1 Iron Head. I was kind of forced to shield this move up, because just in case they have something weak against me in the back, that would be a Draco Meteor, that would be not really ideal. And they're going to shield up the moves from my from my Metagross here, which is going to be fairly decent. So they seem to be weak against me in the back. They're most likely going to run something like the Zation in the back here, and it is going to be the Zation. And we're going to be able to outspeed them, go for a Meteor Mash, and I'm going to try to swap now into my other Haxorus here to do more damage against the opponent's Dialga, farm them down, and one more fast move will be enough to win us this game here as well. Very good game. Let's take a look at the next one. We are going to battle now against the Pokemon that I hate the most in the Master League right now, and that's Solgaleo. Solgaleo is insanely bulky. This Pokemon is just honestly kinda unfair. Like, if you have one, definitely good for you. In my opinion, it's the strongest Pokemon in the Master League right now. It just breaks apart so many Pokemon with its moveset after a while. Like, there's nothing that is really safe about it. Like, it is just a Pokemon that I hate to face. But here we're going to have another matchup against the Lugia with our Metagross. I cannot farm them down. They get to another charge move here in time, sadly. So I'm forced to throw my own charge move here, but I'm still going to get at least some extra energy for the incoming Solgaleo that can farm me down with Fire Spin. So I'm actually sure I went for the other move here for the Meteor Mash, because it's kind of obvious Earthquake, but I don't think I would have got to another move anyway. No, I definitely wouldn't, so it doesn't really matter. Now we're going to have our Haxorus here. I'm going to call the bait first from the Psychic Fangs, and this was definitely correct, as they're going to now go ahead and go for another shield as well. And I'm pretty sure the opponent going to swap out eventually here, and they're going to swap out, but they still get the move through. Doesn't knock me out, but they now have a my Dialga against the opponent's Rayquaza, which can go for the debuffing moves here as well. Very annoying to deal with, to be fair, but this move is going to do some pretty decent damage, knock them out. And we try to get the final shield from the opponent here. As I'm forced to shield this move up, there's nothing else that I can really shield up, because you see the health on my Haxorus. There's no lot that I can do here. I have to go for the Iron Head and hope that they're going to shield this move up here as well, which they do, and does one Night Slash do enough damage here to knock out the opponent. Let's take a look at this. It does not, and this is going to be a good game again. There was nothing I can really do here, I feel like. Psychic Fangs coming through here are going to knock me out, but honestly, Solgaleo, in my opinion, the strongest Pokemon in the Master League. It is just insane how strong this thing is. Just insanely bulky. It has a great typing like Metagross, but it can just have the bait move there with Psychic Fangs. I feel like they shouldn't have given it Psychic Fangs. Yes, right now it's pretty decent, but basically what it blocks is that Fire Spin ever gets buffed, because Fire Spin is usually a pretty bad or like mediocre fast move. But I would have really enjoyed a Fire Spin buff in general, but I think if they do it, like, this Pokemon will be even stronger, so they would need to nerf Psychic Fangs then a little bit. Which I don't know what they're going to do here. It's like everything that they would buff kind of would buff something too strong as well. And just kind of sad. Like, I really don't like the Solgaleo in general. It's a way too strong Pokemon in my opinion. Here we're going to get out the Zation, which is really good because we can align our Metagross. I tried to catch the move here, which worked out really well, which is going to be the Wild Charge as well. They're going to Undercharge. I can still get some damage onto the Dialga, and we can now farm them all the way down here. I think in Dracomedia does more damage than a Wild Charge, so I'm going to shield up the move even though it's resisted. It just is such a strong move. And now it's just the Zation here against me, and I have to try to get to another Media Mesh in time. They are not at 2 moves yet, they are now at 2 moves, and I will be able to take at least one. And I know that I'm going to be able to win CMP with my Metagross against them and win this game here because of the nice catch of the Wild Charge there, which was really cool to be fair. As you're going to be able to go into the next game, we're going to encounter here the Haxorus against a Rayquaza. Pretty bad lead for us, but we can swap out into our own Dialga, and we're gonna get out a Garchomp, which I'm totally fine with. If you use 2 shields as a Dialga, you're going to be able to win this matchup all the time, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to use 2 shields against the opponent, farm them all the way down, and if I can align later on against the Rayquaza, I'm going to be totally okay with that. And here we're going to use the next shield and just farm them all the way down. Get out of this matchup with a ton of energy, more than half of our health, and we will be able to get back switch advantage as they're going to have a Mewtwo, a Shadow Mewtwo as well, which can be a little bit tricky, but the Iron Head is going to get shielded from the opponent here right now. It's going to be a little bit tricky to play around it, because if it has Shadow Ball, it's going to be difficult to deal with it, but they're going to swap out into the Rayquaza for whatever reason, which will allow us to get a ton of energy here now with our Metagross, and this is looking super good for us right now. We're going to be able to get a ton of energy here, but I'm also going to be able to swap out into my own Haxorus and try to go for the Breaking Swipe because we outspeed the opponent and we're going to knock them out right now. And now it's only our Haxorus, a move stored already onto our Metagross, and there's nothing that they can really do here. They can go for another charge move, but our Metagross still has a charge move stored, and this is going to be enough to knock out the opponent. Shadow Mewtwo here. Goodbye there, as we're going to be able to win this game. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to have here the next opponent, Haxorus against Machamp. This should be a matchup that I can win in the T-Shield scenario because I do a little bit more damage later on thanks to the debuff of Breaking Swipe. But we will find out now that they're going to let the move go through anyway, which basically makes it free farm down for all my Pokemon. There's nothing that they can do with Machamp anymore. And I will be able to go for another Breaking Swipe against the opponent's Mamoswine. You're gonna get the attack drop and allowing us now to farm them all the way down with our Metagross. One shield coming up here, and Metagross is just going to sweep them here, and we're gonna get a ton of energy. And let's see what's coming in here against us. It's going to be the Metagross from the opponent. This can be a little bit tricky. They might be able to reverse sweep us, but that's going to be an interesting one. We're going to be able to go ahead and go for one Media Mesh. I can go for another Media Mesh, but the opponent is forced to throw somewhere as well. Great call by them to not shield the first one here, but yeah, they're going to have to shield the next one here anyway. The Earthquake is coming through, and I'm going to be able to go ahead and go into my Dialga now, I think, and try to catch a move later on onto my Haxorus, which is my play to go for. Didn't work out. They're going to go back into the Machamp. I can farm them down. It's going to be a CMP tie. Can we still win this game? Can we survive on Earthquake here? It's super effective. Does a ton of damage, but not enough. And we survive with a 1 HP here in order to go for the Iron Head and win us this game. Good game there. Let's take a look at the next game. We're going to have here... Oh, this was one of the spiciest ones. Let's take a look at this one. We're going to have the Haxorus against a Groudon. Fairly occasionally you win this as a Haxorus actually in the 2-shield scenario, which is kind of wild unless the opponent baits you the entire time. So here we're going to be able to go for the Breaking Swipe and do some decent damage. And yeah, my backline is pretty weak against Groudon, but our lead should definitely make up for that. As we're going to be able to go for another Breaking Swipe here. We win CMP by the way against Groudon, forcing them to shield up this move here. And it's looking fairly decent for us right now. But as we're going to see here right now, we can have shield up another Pressur's Blade here. We're going to see the Ampharos coming in. And I think that they are not running Focus Blast, so we should be fine. I tried to catch a move here onto my Dialga, and I'm just going to try to farm them all the way down at this point of time here as well. But Brutal Swing gonna get us pretty low already. 2 Brutal Swings actually do a lot of damage from this Shadow Ampharos. Really cool Spice Pokemon there. But what we're going to see right now is the Lucario. And while I get to the Dracomedia here right now, Lucario is going to basically break apart the entire team. And there's not a lot that I can do about it. I wanted the opponent to throw something here, and they're going to go ahead and go into the Groudon, forcing me to throw my own charge move here, I think. And this is going to be a tough one. I'm going to swap out here and thought that I could snipe them with the Breaking Swipe, but it didn't work out, sadly. They go for the Aura Sphere. And I think the swap really killed me the game. Because I thought they had Shadow Ball the entire time, which they don't. They have Aura Sphere on this Pokemon, which is kind of wild. But they're going to just sweep me endgame with this Pokemon. So yeah, great there. Definitely was a good alignment there for them later on with the Lucario being able to farm on the Dialga. That was definitely a wild one. Something that you don't see all the time, but good games there. As you're going to see now, the Zation coming in against us. Again, we have Iron Head for this Pokemon. They're going to let this first move go through. I'm going to let the first move go through as well, I think. And this close combat going to do some decent amount of damage, but I can shield up now, and I should be able to realign, which is the one thing that I want to, but I don't do because I can just farm down with the Haxorus as well, never mind. Because the Zation doesn't really have any benefit here anyway. I can go for another Breaking Swipe to debuff the opponent's defense attack gear, which is going to be definitely beneficial for the Metagross, but you're still going to see me do a weird play here. They're debuffed, but I'm still going to shield because I feel like a Draco Meteor still chunks quite a bit, and I can at least overfarm by quite a bit as well, so we're going to get out the Mewtwo here, which we can now retaliate with the Meteor Mesh, doing a ton of damage against them, and we can go for another one before they can go for their own charge move, which will force the final shield of the opponent, and now we'll be able to just farm them all the way. They overfarm by quite a bit, so I'm pretty sure they don't have Shadow Ball, they have the Focus Blast here, and we can still go for the Earthquake, and we know already this is going to one-shot the opponent here from that range, so that's going to be a good game again. Let's take a look at the next game coming up. We're going to have here the opponent having the Dragonite in the lead. Horrific lead for us, and this is going to be pretty damn bad for us in general, as they're going to see the Excadrill coming in, going to be hard counter city here right now. There's nothing we can do here. Honestly, I'm gonna go for a risky play here and going for the Iron Head instead of the Draco Meteor, just so I do more damage with my fast move alone afterwards, which is not really beneficial, to be fair. Like, you shouldn't really do that. Like, going for the Draco Meteor is the safest play to go for, because Draco Meteor actually can knock out the Excadrill from that range, but you cannot really do that otherwise with the Iron Head or something like that. So yeah, here we're going to see at least the Excadrill going down, and we can go for one Breaking Swipe, but we just have to hope that there's something in the back that our good friend Metagross can deal with, and turns out they have literally the perfect hard counter team for me here. They're going to have the Chandelure on the back, which is going to be fairly decent against the Metagross. There's not a lot that I could really do here at this point of time. So yeah, that's going to be a good game. They had literally the hardest counters possible against me here, so that's kind of sad, but what can you do? My only play here is to hope that I can get to 2 charge moves here by farming them down, but they can get to another charge move in time here, sadly. So this is not going to work out as well for us, but still good game there to my opponent. There's nothing I can do, to be fair. It's just complete hard wall match up there, but I don't think you're going to encounter the Chandelure too often in the Open Master League. This is usually something that you don't really see. Next opponent also running the Haxorus, but yeah, we're going to have a 14 attack variant, which here it kind of sucks because of course we lose CMP against the opponent here, but we can go ahead and go for a Breaking Swipe as well. They're going to let this, shield this move up as well, but we can swap out now into our own Dialga. They're gonna go for another Breaking Swipe here, but I don't have to shield it after the debuff. It shouldn't really do as much damage from the Haxorus. As we see a Tyranitar coming in, we see some lag, and I most likely should have went for the Draco Meteor here, because Draco Meteor most likely still does more damage than the Iron Head, and I barely don't, knock them out there. I thought that they would shield anyway, so that's my own fault. I'm going to shield this move up here just in case, so I can debuff the opponent later on. But turns out that they're going to have a Pokemon in the back that I really don't want to face, which is going to be the Landorus. Actually, that's kind of fine for us, right? Because we're going to have now the option to go ahead and just debuff them and catch the move, and they have to go for the superpower, but no, they're going to swap out first. I will be able to farm them all the way down. This should just be a superpower. I can swipe one. That should be pretty easy, right? They're running Earthquake. They're literally running an Earthquake, which is the only way the opponent was able to win here. Against the standard moveset of the Landorus here, I would have easily been able to win this game, but sadly they don't run this. They are running a spicier variant with the Earthquake, which is going to definitely work out fairly well against our team, but it's just rare to see Earthquake on this Pokemon instead of like Stone Edge most likely. They're most likely running Superpower plus Earthquake. Very smart though for them, definitely worked out really well for them, so good game there. And this time around we're going to see the Landorus again, but this time around hopefully not with the Earthquake, because that's kind of rare to be seen. So let's see here, we're going to be able to catch a move. Is this the Stone Edge, is this the Earthquake? We will find out now. It's going to be luckily the Stone Edge, which we will be able to survive here fairly easily, as they have to go for the Superpower, which I'm going to shield up the first one, because I now can farm them down afterwards. And I will be able to get a ton of energy here, and of course the first gonna do too much, like a lot of damage, and I have to shield one anyway. So let's see here, we're going to get out the Ho-Oh. Definitely so worth it to keep all the energy if Ho-Oh is going to completely hardwall us here. but still actually we're gonna do some pretty decent damage here, and even better, we're going to be able to turn down the switch clock here so we can go into our Haxorus and go for one Breaking Swipe, which will be allowing us to get the Pokemon insanely low here and use a shield against them, so we can go ahead and go for more Breaking Swipes against the Zarude, and Zarude has nowhere to go, as I will be able to just farm them all the way down here. They will have to go for a Charge Move here, which most likely does knock us out after the debuff, and it doesn't, so we can go for another Breaking Swipe here right now. Force the opponent to go for another Charge Move against us as well, because they cannot farm us down here, and this is going to be such an easy, clean game here for the end. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. We will be able to just farm them all the way down with our Dialga. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.